Hello everyone. So today in this chapter we'll be covering the concept of loops. So loops is a form of control flow. So what is control flow? Earlier you have looked at the if-else statements. There you saw that if the statement is true, then the body of the if condition is executed, and if the statement is false, then the body of the else condition is executed. But it never happens that both the if condition body of the if and the body of the else are executed. Okay, so before that we have been looking at programs which run through every instruction step by step, but in if else you saw that only certain instructions are executed based on a particular condition. So this is called as control flow or branching. Okay, another kind of control flow is where you execute the same instruction again and again. Okay, so this is called as a loop. Okay, so what are the types of loops? The first type of loop that we will look at is the while loop. A while statement can be used to make a block of code run again and again. Okay, so this is where the power of computers comes in, where they can rapidly execute the same statement again and again to perform a task. Now the block of code that will be executed again and again is called the while clause. Okay, just like we talk about the body of the while loop, that is exactly the same as this while clause. Okay, I'll just write here same as body of while statement. Clear? So now let us look at an example differentiating between if and while. So consider this program where we start with this variable print count. I have initially put it to the value 0. Here I am saying if print count is less than 5, print hello world, then increment print count by 1. Print count is print count plus 1. Okay, this is a simple program. Now here I have written the exact same program, only instead of writing if here, I have put a while here. Okay, so the way to write a while loop is exactly the same as writing a if statement. So you write this keyword while, within parenthesis you put a condition, which is the while condition, and then you put this colon. After this you put some indentation at the beginning to indicate that I'm starting the body of the while statement, and then you write however many statements you have to write inside the body of the while loop, and that ends the while loop. Okay, so it is exactly the same as how you wrote your if and else if statements, right? So now let us look at let us execute these programs and see what is the difference. First I'll connect to Google Colab. Yeah, so now we are connected. Now we can execute this code. Here I am pressing shift plus enter. So you see that hello world is printed once when I run this program with the if statement. Whereas when I run this program, so here you see that hello world has been printed 5 times. Okay. So that is because, so how is that happening? I'll try to explain it to you using a flow chart. So what happens in this first program? In this program which contains the if statement, this one, what happens is first we start here, then we set the variable of print count to 0, right? So it will check this condition if print count is less than 5. Okay, so clearly this is true because right now print count is 0, so this is true. So it will print hello world once. Next it will increment the print count by 1. So right now the value of print count has become 2. Now after that it will just exit. Fine, that is how if works. So now let us look at how this while statement works. So initially we have set the value of print count to be 0. Okay. So when you come to this condition, print count less than 5. So right now this is true. So we go and we print hello world. Next, we increment print count variable by 1. Print count is print count plus 1. So earlier print count was 0. Now print count has become 1. Okay. After doing this, we go back to check the condition of the while statement. Okay. So this is the difference. Whereas in an if, after this statement, we just exit. In a loop, what we do is we go back to check whether this condition is true or false again. So right now the value of print count is 1. So this is still less than 5, true. So we print hello world again, and again we increment print count by 1. So once again, if we increment, the value of print count becomes 2. Again we go back and check the condition. So we keep on doing this till the value of print count becomes equal to 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Already we have printed hello world 5 times and we have incremented print count 5 times. So now the value of print count starting from 0 has become 5. When print count is 5, print count less than 5 is false. So at this time, we will exit the loop. So now I think it is clear to you how this while statement works. We keep on coming back to the beginning of the while loop as long as this condition is true, right? So now moving on, let us look at another example, which is a password checking program. Fine. What is a simple way to write this? Initially, I've set my password to empty string, a blank string. Initializing the variable password. Okay. Now I have a while statement in which I'm checking password is not equal to secret password. Okay, I've just written it in a fancy way where I've replaced the S with dollar and A with @. So I'm checking whether the password is equal to secret password. So it is not equal. Now, if it is not equal, then I print please type the correct password and I ask the user to input the password. Okay. And finally, I print thank you here. So what is this program? So just let us look at it. So what I'm trying to do here is I want this loop has been designed in such a way that it will keep asking the user to enter a new password as long as he does not enter the correct password, which is this secret password. Okay. So here I'm checking that the password is not equal to this. So as long as the condition that the correct password has not been entered is true, I will ask the user to enter again another password. So I'll say please type the correct password, input. Let us just run this. So here he's saying please type the correct password. If I just say random password. So he's asking me again, please type the correct password. Password 2. Again, this is incorrect because this is not equal to secret password. So he's asking me to type the correct password again. Now if I type the correct password, so now you see that the loop has exited and he has said thank you. So what is happening here? So first we have initialized the value of password to a blank string. So before you start this while loop where we are checking that password is not equal to something. So be able to do this, run this condition, we must have this variable password to already be existing. Okay. So that is what is called as initializing a variable. So generally outside a while loop, we have to initialize whatever is the condition, whatever is the variable which is being used in the condition for checking the while statement. So here I'm initializing the password to a blank string because in the first step I want this condition to be true. Okay, if I set it to an empty string is not equal to this secret password. So definitely this condition will be true. Okay. but you can set it to any other value as well, which is not equal to this actual password. Now after that, so here first step, I'm setting the password to an empty string. Then I'm checking whether password is not equal to secret password. So initially this is true. Now I'm asking the user, please type the correct password. And I'm taking the input from the user. So all of you know this input function. This takes an input from the user and I'm assigning it to this variable password. Okay. Now I go back to the condition again and check whether the password which the user has entered is equal to the correct password or not. If it is not equal, that then this condition will be true and I'll ask him to enter another password. So he'll keep on running in this loop as long he does not enter the correct password. Once he enters the correct password, this password not equal to secret password will be false because they both are equal. So then I'll exit. Okay, so that is how a while loop works. Now let us go further and look at break statements. Okay, so till now we have looked at one way to exit a while loop. While loop will only exit when this condition becomes false. Okay, but there is a technique to exit out of a while loop's body early. Okay, this is like giving you one more tool to control your control flow. So another keyword which you can use or another statement which you can use to actually exit out of while loops. So whenever execution reaches a break statement, it immediately exits the while loop's body. So let us see how this works. So let us look at another way to write our same password program. So again, same thing, I'm initializing my password to this empty string. But here the interesting thing is I have changed the condition of my while loop. In the condition, I'm simply saying true. Okay. So for example, earlier if you see, here I'm checking for a condition. I'm saying whether password is equal to this string. So this can be either true or false depending on what is the value of this variable password. Fine. Whereas here I've simply put the literal true inside the while condition. So this condition will always be true because here I'm not checking any condition. I've just put the keyword true here or the expression true. So this will always evaluate to true and this loop will always run. Fine. So this will create something called an infinite loop. So this loop will always keep running. So inside this, I'm asking the user, please type the correct password. Next, I'm taking the input from the user, whatever he types, and assigning it to this variable password. Now inside this loop, I'm checking if password is equal to the correct password, then uh, inside this if statement, inside the body, I'm putting this break statement. So as soon as the program reaches this break statement, immediately it will exit out of the while loop and it will print thank you. Okay, so let us run this. So first I'll type a wrong password. So now this will ask me again to type the password again. But now let me type the correct password. So as soon as I type the correct password, this will exit out of the loop and print thank you. So what is happening here? First I've initialized my password to an empty string. Now I'm going to this true condition which will always be true. So here this branch has been marked as X because the condition is always true. I will never actually take this branch. Whereas earlier my password not equal to secret password, depending on the value of this variable password, this could be true or false. So I could have taken either this branch or this branch. Whereas here, because the condition itself is true, I will only take the true branch always. I will never take this false branch. So how to exit out of the loop? So let us see that. So here I'll go to true and I'll print please type the correct password. I'll take the input from the user, and again here this is our if statement. Here I'm checking if my password is equal to secret password. If it is true, I'm breaking out of the loop. So breaking out of the loop means it directly goes to the next statement after the while loop, which was my print thank you. And if it is false, I'll again go to the beginning of the while condition or while statement, and this condition always evaluates to true. So I'll go inside the loop again. I'll be looping again until and unless this if statement condition becomes true. Then I'll reach the break statement. I can exit out of the loop. Okay. So this is how a break statement works. So as soon as the important thing that you have to remember is, as soon as we encounter a break statement, immediately we will exit out of the while loop. The next statement that you need to be aware of is continue statement. Okay. So just like break statements, continue statements are only used inside loops. Okay. When a program encounters a continue statement, it immediately jumps ahead to the loop condition and rechecks it. So what does this mean? Let me just explain to you using an example. So here we are using an advanced password program. So what is its feature? So this checks two things: name and password. Okay. So here again inside the while statement, I'm using an infinite loop again to write this program, because inside the condition I've simply written true. So this will always be true. First I'm asking print what is your name. Okay. And then I'm taking the name input from the user. Okay. Next I'm checking in an if statement, if the name is not equal to Hari. Okay. Then I'm saying continue. So basically what this program is intended to do is, like, I want to give access only to the user whose name is Hari. If any other user comes whose name is different, I do not want to give him access. So whenever first I've taken the name as input, now I'm checking for this condition, name is not equal to Hari. Okay. Then I'm saying continue. So what does continue do? Continue, so what is the body of this while loop? All this entire code is inside the body of the while loop. Okay. This is again outside the body of the while loop. But all these statements, they are inside the body of the while loop. Clear? So what does continue do? As soon as we encounter this statement continue, we skip over all the statements inside the body of the while loop which come later, and we directly go to the beginning of the while loop. We directly reach here and again check for the condition, because this is always true. So we'll again ask what is your name, and we'll again take the input, we'll check the input. If it is not equal to Hari, again we'll go back to the beginning. So this is how continue works, that it goes back to the beginning of the loop. Okay, it skips over all the statements which are supposed to occur and goes directly back to the beginning of the while loop. But suppose we enter the correct name as Hari, then this condition will be false, so we won't reach the continue statement. We'll simply go to the next statement, which is print hello Hari, what is the password? Now we will take the password as the input from the user. We'll check the password now. Okay, we'll check what is the password. If the password is correct, we will break completely out of the loop and we'll give access to the user. But if the password is false, again we'll go back to the beginning of the loop. We will ask the name and password, etc. So this is how the flow chart looks like. Initially we have initialized our name to an empty string. Then we have a while loop which is always true. Okay, so we will never take this false branch. We will only always be running inside this loop. So now let us see what is happening inside. We have printed this. We have taken the name input from the user. Now this is the first if condition where we are checking the name. So if name is not equal to Hari, if it is true, then we continue directly back to the beginning of the loop again. We skip all these statements which come later. Okay, that is what this continue statement does. It connects us directly back to the beginning of the loop. Whereas if it is false, then we go to the next statement, we read the password from the user, and then we check the password. Now if that is false, the loop is ending here. So why are we going back to the beginning? Because if this is false, this is the end of the loop, so naturally we go back to the beginning of the loop if it is false. But if it is true, we reach the break statement, and what does the break statement do? It breaks us out of the loop. It goes to the next statement, which is print access granted. Okay, so in this chapter we have looked at while loops, break statements, and continue statements. So these concepts will become more clear to you when you actually solve the examples. So I would encourage you to think whatever programs you have written here today, so please try to write them on your own again without looking here in the notebook. So and if you go on doing further examples, only then these concepts will become clear. So that was for this lecture. Thank you.